Sometimes you have a guest that just absolutely blesses you during the whole entire conversation. And my guest today, Shaneice Thomas, is one of those people. Shaneice has a truly inspiring story. When she was younger, she faced some really tough times. Trauma is no easy thing to deal with, especially when you're just a kid trying to get through school. And for Shaneice, it made certain subjects feel almost impossible, particularly math. But here's the amazing part. Shaneice didn't let that hold her back. Instead, she used those experiences to fuel everything she did after that. She understood what it was like to be a student who needed just a little bit more help, who needed someone to believe in them. That understanding and empathy and the words of one of her teachers drove her to become a teacher as well. She wanted to be that person for other kids. Shaneice took her passion for education even further. After years of teaching and being a principal and impacting countless lives in the classroom, she decided to make the bold move into the nonprofit sector. Now, Shaneice is channeling her energy into creating programs that support students who face some similar challenges that she once faced. Shaneice is making a difference every single day. She's ensuring that no child feels left behind or incapable, and she's proof that with the right mindset and determination and people in your corner, you can turn your past struggles into your greatest strength. I hope that this conversation with Shaneice and her journey is so inspiring and resonates with you in some way. And you might want to grab a notebook for this one and a pen because she's got some nuggets of wisdom that you're going to want to write down. And I wrote them down as we were talking. So get ready and let's get to it. Hi, friend. Are you ready to move into a leadership position? Do you have interests and ambitions that you want to pursue, but feel like you don't know how to take that next step? Maybe you want to start your own coaching or consulting agency. I'm Mel, and I help educators define their career path through correct mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for your career transition. I will show you how to level up your leadership skills, share your expertise in a new way, create impact on a larger scale, and put your leadership in motion. As an educator for over 20 years, I started to feel underused and like I had more to give. I knew when the time had come for me to leave the classroom and affect change on a larger level. Now, I'm ready to help you determine where your talents and skills mesh with your passions and interests. Put your leadership in motion and move into that next phase of your educational career journey. Let me help you define your career path by having the right mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for that next leadership position. So power up and put your leadership in motion. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I am your host, Dr. Mel Vandevort, and today I have with me Shaneice Thomas. And she is actually really close to me in location. We actually figured that out when we had our discovery call. She is in the St. Louis, St. Charles area, and we connected on a Facebook group, but then we realized we were in the same geographical location and that we had a lot in common. So welcome to the show, Shaneice.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Mel. This is an amazing opportunity to be able to share. So thank you.
Well, you are welcome. I love having guests on, and I just really love your story and your determination and your dedication and the fact that you're an educator. And so it all just clicked. And I think during our discovery call, you mentioned that you ask God to put the right people in your path and at the right time. And I think that He does exactly that. He does that for me. And it's never an accident when I have a specific guest on my show. So I think that He put you here for a reason. So tell us about your journey. Tell us about yourself. Well, first give us a little bit of background information, and then we'll just move into the conversation.
All right, great. So I am a native of North Carolina, so sometimes my country accent might come out. Just just keep going.
Oh, girl, I've got a country accent too, so don't feel bad about it. And it comes out a lot on here. So.
But this is my professional speaking voice. I'm so thankful for my roots and where I came from, and it helped to build all of the values and the work ethic that I have, being a girl raised in the South, and my grandfather was a farmer. So learning how to work hard at an early age has really helped me in so many areas of my life as an adult now. And so I was not sure what I really wanted to do whenever I went to high school and everybody's making that big decision about what to do and where to go. And I just recently shared this story with some teachers last week during a training, and I had a picture of my algebra teacher on the slide, and they were like, "Where did you get that picture?" I'm like, "I'm Facebook friends with this lady right here who happens to be responsible for me becoming an educator." And I was trying to decide between the military and going into nursing and that kind of thing. And I ended up being in algebra class one day, and the teacher called me to the board, and she says, "Hey, can you explain this problem to the class?" And I said, "Sure." And I explained the problem, and she says, "Wow, that was really good, Shaneice. You should be a teacher." And just those few words, the power that teachers carry, I don't think we all understand the power that educators have.
Yes,
So
I agree.
That set me on my journey. Yeah, that set me on my journey in education. Just those few words.
I love that story, definitely. And I love the fact that you still have a connection to some of your teachers from the past. I actually have a couple of my past teachers. Actually, my kindergarten teacher is on my Facebook group. Yes. But then I have one of my high school teachers on there too. So kind of that wide range, and just those two ladies, like even now, seeing the things they post and the connections that they make still yet, it just reaffirms the fact that you're an educator for life, and it doesn't matter that you've been retired for 20 or 30 years. You are still an educator, and people still look at you as their teacher. And now I also have friends on my Facebook that were my students.
Yeah.
And they are adults now, and they are getting married and having babies. And it's so wonderful on the flip side of that as a teacher to see the progression from like my 6th grade students into them being adults and starting their own careers and their families. And it's just such a great journey, and you're a teacher for life.
It is. It's really wonderful because there's this saying about, as an educator, you plant seeds, but you don't really ever know what grows. We don't always get to see the end result. And so same for me. I have some students on my page who still come back to thank me for things that I don't even remember saying or doing that were impactful for them. So It's so rewarding.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about that journey. So you had that teacher who sparked that interest in you being an educator. Tell us your journey into that.
Yeah, I am also working with a nonprofit, and I'm on the leadership team for them. And I preface that to say that I am an adult survivor and overcomer of childhood trauma. And so whenever I was deciding what kind of teacher to become, I knew the limitations that I had mentally. I didn't know where they came from or why I had those limitations, but I just didn't feel confident in certain areas. Math specifically, which is why it's so funny that it was algebra class that she was admonishing me for that, because I was really, really scared of math. I didn't feel like my brain worked well with numbers. But when I decided I wanted to be a teacher, I was like, well, I love working with kids. I like young kids, and I know that I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So I'll definitely do elementary school.
Right.
That was kind of the logic. That was kind of the logic of how I came up with becoming an elementary school teacher. I always loved kids. And so from there, I went into the program, not really knowing what to expect. It was very challenging for me because I had this challenge with my brain. Now I realize that it was from the childhood trauma that I had experienced, these things that caused me to be in survival mode. And so it kept my brain from doing some of the other higher level things. But ironically, I was an honor roll student. I went on through college, got a master's degree, and it's just amazing how resilient we can be. So I want to encourage people who are having trouble with their children, or they are experiencing students who look like they have some challenges, to not give up on those kids. I was one of those middle of the road kids, not the highest, not the lowest. And those are the kids that end up falling through the cracks. So for me, I went on to get my education degree, and I taught third grade for a few years. And someone who was a principal fellow at the time came into my classroom, and he saw my leadership potential, because I was the person on the team who was like the go-to person for different types of technology things, or, leadership kinds of things. And he came in and he said, you really should become a principal. And that had never crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know what that meant, except that I would have an office, and I thought maybe I would have more influence. So I was like, okay, I'll give that a try. So I applied for a Principal Fellows scholarship and went into the Principal Fellows program, got accepted. So basically I got paid to do my internship while I was seeking my master's degree.
Oh, wow. That's good.
It was really awesome. So I was like getting a salary while I was in college, and had some really great mentors along the way, but I struggled. I still continued to struggle. And again, I did not know that these things were all related to the trauma that I had experienced. But we are resilient people. We have survived, from the Neanderthal age and the saber-toothed tigers all the way up to now. We're still alive. And I went through the program and saw that I still was having some challenges, but I just continued to go on with it. And I'm so thankful that I did, because it gave me some skills that I use now in my own business.
Definitely. So how long were you a principal?
I was a principal for about 5 years, including my internship. So about 5 years.
Okay. So you were a principal, and then where did you go after that?
Well, actually, I will say an assistant principal. And it kind of came to a head for me. It came to a situation where I realized I was not built for that position, that it did not suit my purpose. It did not fulfill me in the way that I thought it would. And it was just really hard. It was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. My personality is not suited for constant conflict, which as an administrator, you might hear some people say, I'm a firefighter. Like that's every day I go to work and I put out fires all day long. Yes. And it is exhausting. It can be really exhausting if you are not working within the vein of your strength.
Yes.
So I'm not saying it's a bad position. I'm saying that it was not the best position for me, and it did not suit my particular skill set or personality. So
that is golden, what you just said. That is golden. I'm writing that down, because that is great, great stuff. Keep going.
Yeah. It just didn't suit me. So whenever I developed my logo for my business, the Purpose Project Company, it has 3 circles and a square. And it's like the square, the whole thing about trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. And that's what I kept trying to do in this position. I was trying to force something that just did not fit for me. Mm-hmm. So I call it a mutual divorce. They thought that I wasn't good for the position, and I thought that it wasn't working for me either. Right. So we just kind of agreed that I would just leave the position. And it also was impacting my family. Like when you serve as an educator, people are like, oh, that's the easiest job. You work for 10 months and then you're off. But you work those hours that you get off in the summer. Those hours have already been worked, because you give up nights, you give up weekends, you give up time with your family, you give up space in your brain, because there's this constant to-do list.
And so, now a lot of administrators, they work a 12-month contract. So you're working not a typical day like we think, the typical 8 to 3 or whatever, 7:30 to 3. No. You work those hours. Plus, like you said, you're working nights and you're thinking on weekends. And if something comes up and you're the administrator of a building, you're going to have to drop what's happening on the weekend and take care of that. I have a friend who was a high school principal, and there was a bus wreck. It was after hours. The kids were coming home from a game or going to a game or something. I can't remember. It's been a few years, but Like she had to literally drop everything to make sure her students and her bus driver were okay. And so it is not an easy job, and it is not a job that's done in a certain time frame during the day or year.
Yeah, so true. And for me, it was the day that I yelled at my 2-year-old when I got home from work.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just trying to get my attention. And I had been at work late and then came home with a stack of papers. And she was trying to get my papers and she ripped one of my papers. And I just, what are you doing? Or something. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I do recall raising my voice at her. And I had a moment where I said, this is not healthy for me, and it's not healthy for my family. And if I'm going to serve others in the best way that I know how, then I need to make sure that I'm in the right place. We talk about being in the right seat on the right bus, that whole scenario, that whole analogy. And it's important to make sure that you're doing the right thing for your people that you're serving. John Maxwell, which I'm also a John Maxwell team member and learning, coaching, speaking, and training through his program, also talks about, if nobody's following you, then you're just taking a walk. You're not really a leader. You're just taking a walk by yourself if nobody's following you.
Girl, you are dropping some great nuggets of wisdom here today. That is golden as well. Definitely.
It's so true. And you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing to serve those people that you're trying to help. And he says there's this leadership lid, that people following you can only be as good as you are as a leader. So if on a scale of 1 to 10, if I'm a level 5 leader, the people that are following me can only be at a level 4. They'll never be able to surpass where I am. So I just had to have, a come to Jesus minute where I'm like, what are you doing with your life? And what are you really created to do? And can you figure that out? So that's kind of where I went with that.
Yeah. If you are not waking up every day, or on the flip side, that if you are waking up every day dreading going to work, then you might need to be doing a little bit of internal auditing of some things and make sure that your job is exactly where you need to be. And if you're waking up and you're like, man, I've got so many ideas, or I've got a passion that's burning and I really wish I could just do more or impact education in a bigger way, then it might be time for you to step into a leadership position. And it doesn't have to just be a principal position. There are so many different leadership positions. So you went into the principal position or the principal track, and it wasn't the best fit for you, but you realized that you gained all of that wonderful leadership knowledge and experience. Nothing we do is wasted. Nothing we learn is wasted. Now you have all of that experience for something else. And so now you're doing something else. You mentioned a nonprofit. So tell us a little bit about that and what you're doing right now.
Yes, I work with a nonprofit that is faith-based, and research knowledge is what we use as strategies to help adult survivors of childhood trauma. It's called Tower of Hope Ministries. And it was the first time in my life where I was surrounded by a group of people who understood what I had been through because they had experienced similar things, and it was just a safe space for us to share. So I went through the program. It was a 3-year program, and then graduated from the program. And now I'm serving on the staff and the leadership team, helping other people. So we have small groups. We have an online course. So just a way to help other people be able to be the best that you can be at what you're doing, regardless of what that is, because we're all leaders in some way. We all lead. John Maxwell says the first person that you lead is yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So some of us are not even doing a great job leading ourselves. So we want to first start practicing by leading ourselves well, and then we can lead others well. So that has helped me to actually change the physical makeup of my brain from this constant fight or flight to being someone who is no longer living in survival, because those traits that I gained from trying to survive no longer served me when I became an adult. They caused me suffering. It wasn't helping me survive anymore. Like trying to get people's attention when you're an adult, that doesn't work very well, and that translates to us, working too hard for people's approval, people pleasing, the trying to gain through praise and approval. And a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people because I don't have research numbers, but some people go into leadership because of that lack of confidence with doing other things in their life, and they want people to look up to them. So you have to make sure that when you're moving into that you're doing it for the right reason, because it has a heavy weight. It carries a really great price with it when you're leading people.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to move into a leadership position because I wanted to make that bigger impact, but it wasn't just to be the leader, to be the boss, or whatever you typically think of whoever's in charge. I wanted to impact professional learning on a larger scale and student leadership. Those were passions of mine. And I'm like, man, I just need an outlet for that. I need a way to do that. And I was impacting student leadership in the classroom, but I wanted to move it out further and also to impact teacher leadership, because we have some amazing teachers who don't think that they are leaders. You're a leader in the classroom. You are leading kids every day. You are leading parents every day. You are leading your coworkers every day. Sometimes you just don't recognize that in yourself. But then we have some of those teachers who, they have some good stuff to provide, and we need to be cultivating that. And there are teachers who just want to teach. That's what they want to do. That is their life's plan. And they have no desire to move into a leadership position of any type. But if there's someone who is always looking for extra opportunities, or they want to lead those workshops and they want to step up and do the things, those are the people you need to really be cultivating and pushing into any type of leadership position, whether it be in school or now. I've started my own educational consultancy, and I've got a couple of guys who they're wanting to start their own educational consultancy or build or refine theirs. And so now I'm leveraging their skills to help me, because I'm only one person and I can only do so much on my own. And so we're kind of got this little barter thing going back and forth. So I'm going to help them to grow their business, and they're going to help me to grow mine, because they're going to take some of the load off of me, and they're going to get to use those skills that they have already, and they get to flourish, I guess, because they have this stuff just waiting. It's that potential they have waiting, just ready to be tapped into. So I'm going to tap into that and use that. And then I'm going to help them use that potential to start their own educational consultancies and impact in a much larger scale.
That's beautiful. The imagery that I got when you were talking about that, because I was like, if I had to kind of use an illustration of what leadership is, I thought about it as a garden. And, if you have a garden, there are things that you have to do to make sure that your garden grows. It needs rain, which we don't all like rain. We don't like it, we don't like rain, but the rain is necessary. We need the right soil. We can't just plant it anywhere. So maybe someone's good in that position, but maybe they need to be planted somewhere else, and then they can flourish in that particular soil. Maybe you have some weeds. Maybe there are people who it doesn't matter where you plant them, they are choking out everybody. They just are not the right kind, of person for that position, and they're not going to be able to help the culture grow. So as a leader, you are cultivating that garden. And then, like you're doing, Dr. Mel, you take those people who have been planted, they've blossomed, they've flourished, they've grown, and then you take them and plant them somewhere else so that they can continue to multiply and continue to add beauty to everything else around them, so that we can create a better world for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And I used to be the person who didn't want help and didn't value what other people had. I was that I guess maybe you call him a type A person. Like it was all about what I wanted, and I wasn't like leveraging the skills and the knowledge and the wisdom of other people to help me. And I have completely flipped my mindset on that. And now I'm like, oh, you want to help me? How can you help me? And how can I help you back? Yes.
Yes.
Because I need all the help I can get right now. And so it takes a little bit of work to become that person if you are the opposite of that. And so it took a big mindset shift, and leadership isn't just about being the boss and taking control and doing everything yourself, because first of all, you don't know how to do everything yourself. Second of all, you're going to burn out quickly if you try to do everything yourself.
Yes.
And thirdly, you're wasting great talent if you're not cultivating it and letting those other people flourish. I was cheating people out of the opportunity to use those skills, grow those skills, show me what they had.
Right.
And I was losing out myself because I wasn't leveraging what they had that I could use. And now I want to pour into people, and then they are so much happier pouring into me than the person I used to be. Definitely.
Because I feel like now what I'm doing with my business, the Purpose Project Company, is that I am still doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still pouring into people. I'm still helping people. But I realized that I needed a little bit more autonomy for myself.
Yes.
Not to be, sometimes it can sound kind of ego driven to be like, I just need my own business. Because guess what? When you have your own business, you're going to work harder than you're going to work for somebody else.
Holy cow.
Right? You're everybody. You're the secretary, you're the janitor, you're the, like, you do everything.
Exactly. That's why I'm so excited about these two guys going to help me, because I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus, because I am dying here because I can't do it all by myself.
Yeah. So now I'm stepping over from that type of leadership position to doing something that I've actually always wanted to do, which was, and I've always loved staff development and professional development. So that's just kind of always been my jam, to just lead people in that way. So last week, my colleague and I, Dr. Washington, who is actually the executive founder of the recovery trauma program that I went through, she and I were able to pour into the teachers, at this last 2 weeks of the school year, mm-hmm. and to help them with their why, to help them find hope at this time of the year, to help them understand what they're doing and the impact that they have. And it was like autopilot. That's when you know you're in your purpose, when things just flow. And there's no fight. There's not that it's not going to be difficult to do other things, but it felt fun. It felt easy. Mm-hmm. It felt like it was something I wanted to do. Like you said, you wake up and you're like, this is what I love. And then that
sets your soul on fire. What sets your soul on fire. Exactly. Yes. Gary Vaynerchuk, I think is how you say his name. He's like, what is the thing? Look yourself in the mirror. What is the thing that you want to do for the rest of your life? Do that. If that's the thing, do that. It's the thing that brings you joy and that is the purpose for which you were created.
Right. And the focus that we have right now in going into the schools, because there is so much professional development, like we do all the stuff with the goals and the objectives and school improvement plan, all of those mm-hmm. things usually get done. But our focus is more on personal growth for the teachers. We say, leave your stuff at the door and come in and work. But we bring all of who we are into what we do. So mm-hmm. we can't just expect people to just leave their things at the door. We have to be able to address the whole person. Want to be able to find out who are you, and that's going to kind of be our focus, is talking about how people can find their authentic self. Who is it that you really are, and what are the things that are holding you back, and focus more on your strengths instead of just your weaknesses. We always talk about what I can't do, what I don't do, what I'm having trouble doing. I'm going to quote John Maxwell again. He says, nobody quits things that they're good at. Nobody says, wow, I'm so great at speaking, I'm just going to give that up.
Right, exactly.
About that. Who cares about that? I'm not going to do that anymore. No, people quit doing the things that they don't like. So let's find out what strengths we have as people, as leaders, so that we can use those strengths. And like you said, tap into those other people in your garden. We don't want to pull nourishment from them and not allow them to grow, because then they die, they wither, and they leave, they get burned out. We need to try to feed into them and allow them to get some of that sunshine as well so they can flourish.
Right. And we all have gap areas. We're not great at everything. You can't be great at everything because God gave us all different talents for a reason. Like you said, tap into the talents of others and build those relationships and network. And the only way you're going to know what the talents and skills of other people is to build those relationships. And then you can start cultivating those, whatever that looks like for you, your business, your career, and even in your life. I have mentors for every facet of my life. We need that. We definitely need that to grow ourselves, and then vice versa. You know, we're pouring into others, like we said. Yeah. So tell us before we go, we're running a little short on time. So give us one or two last words of wisdom for those who are ready to move into that leadership position or switch careers or start their own educational company of some sort. What would you have to say to them?
Do it now.
Oh my gosh. Mic drop. We don't even have to go any farther. Do it now. Take full action.
Don't wait. Don't feel like you have to have everything in place. Start leading someone now. Do it for free. Hey, if you want to be some type of mentor or coach or leader, hey, can I help you? Do it now and find a way to cultivate that leadership. Like for me, I'm going through John Maxwell's program. There are lots of different types of programs out there like that you can tap into, and do it now. Do something today. Buy a book on leadership. John Maxwell has tons of leadership books. My favorite is 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Do it now. And that is one of the things that is in the chapter that I'm talking about.
Wow.
It's intentionality. It's do it now. And that has helped me with something as simple as the laundry. I can take it out of the dryer and I can wait, or I can just do it now.
Right.
That's what I want to encourage.
I love it. I kind of had that philosophy this morning when I was going on my jog. I'm like, I don't want to go. My neck hurts. My back hurts. I'm tired. I know it's going to be hot. I'm going to get attacked by cicadas when I go out there.
Right.
I went out, immediately got attacked by cicadas, but I'm like, all right, get going. And as soon as I got started, yes, those first few steps were hard. I mean, it took me, 5 minutes of walking, jogging to get my momentum going. But as soon as I got that going, it got easier. And the rest of the jog, I had to still stop and walk for a little bit because I'm building up my capacity for running again. But I kept going. I walked a little and then I jogged a little, but I just kept going. And it's that start now, do it now, and it's going to get easier as you go along. Shaneice, this has been a great conversation. I mean, I am so filled right now. You have filled my cup today, definitely. Tell my audience how they can connect with you if they want to talk to you more or learn more from you, because I'm going to be following you on everything because you got some great wisdom up there, girl. You're doing great.
Awesome. I am so thankful to be a coach, trainer, and speaker and helping to add value to people through personal, professional, and even spiritual growth for people who want to live a life of purpose, being intentional about everything you do. So you can find me on Linktree, that's linktr.ee/The Purpose Project CO. The Purpose Project CO.
Awesome. And you guys know I will have all of her links in the show notes, so you will not have any trouble connecting with her. This has been amazing. Thank you again so much. I am so glad that we ended up in the same Facebook group and that we connected. I feel like there are some things we're going to be able to help each other with, and we can grow together and learn from each other. So thank you so much again for being on the show.
Same. I appreciate the connection. Thank you for sharing your audience with me today.
You are so welcome. Thank you for being willing to talk to my audience. This has been a blessing for them today.
Awesome.
And for the rest of you, thank you so much for tuning in today. And you know that I will be back here same time, same place next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.